I haven't seen any accurate or useful information on the LUT, so I have decided to make this video and fully explain how it really works and what it is for. In order to understand LUT, you must understand FAT. As you can see, you're going to want the torpedo to swim against the direction of the convoy, not with it, and not on an angle either. What it does once it hits the range you set it to is a U-turn either left or right and then goes in this pattern back and forth until it reaches the torpedo's maximum range and sinks to the ocean floor. But the FAT requires a perfect 90-degree assault, so what do you do if you got a bad angle? You use a LUT. So what a LUT does is the same as a FAT, but instead of needing a 90-degree angle, you can set that angle to whatever you want. This angle is not relative to the torpedo, but instead it is a heading. So for example, 270 is west, 0, and 360 are north, and anything above 360 defaults to north as well. And the left-right selection is to basically do the FAT program after traveling roughly 3 cables on that heading. But how do we find that heading? You use this protractor tool to draw a line down from north and then to the desired angle, or vice versa, it works either direction. However, as this only works up to 180 degrees, you will need to subtract anything more than 180, that's the angles heading westward, by 360. So for example, 50 degrees to the right is a heading of 50, but 50 degrees to the left is a heading of 310. Don't worry, if you subtract it in the wrong order, it will be minus 310, and you will know that you really meant 310. And so, let's see this all in practice. I have 2 examples lined up. The first is a right-hand shot at an angle set to 140. I intentionally missed the targeted ship for this example. Also, forgive my lazy lines as they are off by about a full cable. But this doesn't exactly require precision. You're going to want a heading perpendicular to the course of the target ship and set it to U-turn into the direction of the convoys. I think of all this like it's a net to catch a second boat if there's a miss. I messed up the recording footage here so you can't see it, but I set the torpedo to a 2 nautical mile length at an angle of 140 and a right selection, and it will do just that. And so for our final demonstration, I figured it was appropriate to show a westward shot, but I also seen this as an opportunity to showcase one of the many trick shots that one could pull off with these very fancy torpedoes. As you can see here, I cannot see anything. This is pitch black. You can free aim fire at the direction of the periscope if you're not locked onto anything, but since I can't even see anything, I will aim my boat in the direction I want to fire and center my camera, relative to the ship, with the button in the periscope view. Make sure your periscope is actually above the water and not stowed if you try this, or your shot will go to Narnia. Now, I can plot my torpedo's guidance and just use the LUT as a net to hopefully catch a fish. So here, as you can see, we plotted out 2 nautical miles, and for the angle, we came down from north with the protractor tool and found the desired angle perpendicular to the convoy, and that angle is 44 degrees. However, this is westward, it's over 180 degrees, so we have to subtract it from 360. So 360 minus 44 is 316. Anything left of center will be over 180 and need to be subtracted by 360. And so my torpedo settings will be 2 nautical miles length at an angle of 316 left to U-turn left and swim into the convoy. Let's see how this goes. I've plotted this one more accurately as well. And once again, it's a hit. I trust you now fully understand the LUT. And here's some extra details for you. Torpedo ranges according to a thing I saw online are as follows. T1, 4 nautical miles. T2, 2.6 nautical miles. T3, 4 nautical miles. T5, 3.5 nautical miles. The running lengths for the LUT are roughly 2 to 3 cables run length down the specified heading for the LUT, then it's 1 cable wide for the U-turns, and 4 to 5 cables run length to the next U-turn. This is how I plotted the torpedo's path, but it's very rough, seems to even be a little different from time to time, but it's generally correct enough. And lastly, I believe setting a T1 LUT to a higher speed affects its chances of striking a random hit, so be mindful of that. The standard speed seems to be the speed this pattern likes, but I understand you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes and it might still hit something, so who knows? Maybe just don't miss.